Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Utopia News Warcast. I'm your host, Wind. Again, we're on age 94. It's the age of ascent. Today's date, February 10th, year 2. It's been a while since we did a cast, but we're going to dive right in as if nothing had changed at all. Now, I had a special request from FFW, that's SAPS for anyone who doesn't know him. He wanted me to do a quick poll to see what the world is feeling like, and you can definitely check that out here. I'm going to show you where to check it out on the screen here. I made this cool, really simple, easy to find um, little survey, and it's what do you prefer, race, or race personality? Is this race thing working out for you, or did you like the old way, the old style of doing things? So definitely be sure to check that out in the video description. There is a link to this, and if everyone could complete this as soon as possible, we were looking for the feedback before Christmas or the end of the year if possible. This could very well affect the future of the world of Legends. So definitely something everyone should check out if you're interested in making an impact on the game. So without further ado, let's dive into what's going on in the war scene today. Awesome. Let's take a look. Quite a few wars going on. I'm sure several of them have been completed already, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to find that out. There's a couple wars that just started today, or at least in the past 24 hours. So we'll do our best to take a look at what's going on there. Before we go any further, I'm just going to do a quick test of the levels and things like that just to make sure everything looks like it's pretty much good to go. It doesn't seem like we're having any problems on the Muga thing either. If anyone wants to join in from the Muga Discord, you can check it out on the Muga Cast. It's the new public speaking stage that we're going to be using going forward so that more people can participate in these conversations. All right, let's move on to the wars. That's what we want to see. But first, let's look at Top Kingdoms. I know you all want to check out Top Kingdoms. So let's refresh this. I always like to zoom this in so it's a lot easier to see. It shows up a lot better. I mean, I doubt many people have really tagged now, but there's always those few who like to tag early. But it doesn't look like there's anybody really recognizable at this time. I mean, it looks like Shadow Rising 7-2, whoever that is, went for a big leap there. I actually have some data on this war. I believe 7-2 versus 7-9, I think it was. Where are they? Sometimes this thing drives me crazy. There it is, 7-9. Yeah, so we got to check that out. It looks like they're agreed 7-12, but 7-9 actually went to war with 7-2. Um, looks like 7-12 was the one they were supposed to go to war with, not 7-2. Looks like 7-2 is being a bit of a bully here. I mean, they are the much larger kingdom. How they're interfering with a significantly smaller kingdom's war, like literally half the size, or not half the size, but like 10,000 acres difference, I mean, between the two. Maybe they really wanted a piece of, 7-9, and that's what it was all about, or 7-12 rather. I'm not even sure, but it seems like 7-12 and 7-2 should have gone to war based on these numbers here, but we're not going to look too far into that. So shout out to everyone who's in the top 10 right now. Great job. You want to stay up there now because like 30, 40K is kind of like below the mid range once we start getting later in the age. So don't get too excited. Anything can still happen. Let's move on to the honor chart side of things. I mean, there's probably not going to be too much to look at here. Definitely more to look at than in the first year, year zero or year one even. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on here. It just kind of looks like party streamers exploding out of a snake cannon or something. But then we actually get to some interesting stuff here. Watch out, 7-2, 7-12. It looks like they're mad about this war that's going on. So maybe 7-2 will get a war from 7-12 once they, leave their ceasefire whenever that war's done. Kind of looks like the same province, the same kingdoms rather, are up at the top there. I don't think Bad Xmas Prezi's chillin' was in the top 10 acres. Oh, there they are. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty funny name. Prezzies. Who says that? Some old lady stuff. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, otherwise, Utopia Fried Chicken, WWE doing a toast, Korsov City. Now that name sounds familiar. I'm not sure why. So does Bob the Builder. I mean, everybody knows who Bob the Builder is, but I swear this kingdom, or someone's been tagging as this kingdom before, and this Diablo kingdom. I don't even think they have a full 25, but they're one of the biggest and have most honor in the world. That's an interesting accomplishment. We'll see what that takes them by the end of age. So let's jump into the wars. There's enough speculating on what's going on in the charts now. This is the oldest war currently, 175 hours. Dumb ways to die versus message for war. Only easy ones. You heard them, everyone. They only want the easy wars. All right. So make sure you give it to them. I'm just kidding. Okay, this war has been over for some time. It definitely looks like um, blue was able to maintain the upper hand here going in, and even though there's some nice convergences here on the land side, blue ended up walking away with this one. Let's look at the net worth side of things. Shows a much closer war. I mean, there's definitely some solid convergences here throughout the entire war. Maybe not the first couple waves here, but definitely by the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth wave, you start to see that convergence. And, red was actually managing to gain some traction here, but it looks like blue was quickly able to put a stop to that and, just was basically stomping them out is what it looks like. Because, you see this nice downward trend here on both sides, maybe a little bit more so on blue initially, but eventually blue levels off here and actually starts growing, which kind of tells me maybe they got some TM advantage and Red Kingdom's starting to run out of attackers. Start to look at the honor side of things. Honor side shows again a very tight war, convergences all around. This is kind of what you want to see. Blue Kingdom came in, the smaller honor kingdom, and took the honor and walked away with the win. So a good amount of honor and a good amount of land taken on this war. Great job, Blue Kingdom. This looks like it was a nice, well-fought war. In terms of percentage of land, I mean, and percentage of net worth, we're not seeing too much of a difference. There's nothing really to write home about there that we couldn't tell from the net worth chart. So good job, everybody there. Let's move on to the next war. No free ice cream versus Cryptid's holiday war. And again, if you guys want your banners posted or anything like that, Tom banners, whatever, just send them to me, message them to me, post them in the Muga chat and tag me. I will add it in there for you and share it with everybody in the world. It's kind of like commercials, but cool commercials that you don't have to watch and only takes a second to look at. So be sure to check out those banners. They're not commercials. All right, let's check this out. Cryptids, no free ice cream. Well, Cryptids, definitely, obviously walked away with the win on this one. I mean, not too much needed on this one, but as you can see, they came in even smaller, even after their pump. Usually, the smaller kingdom will outpump the bigger kingdom that they're attacking, but in this case, it doesn't look like they really did that. However, they were able to converge on what looks like the second wave, or possibly even the first war wave, and then after that convergence, they're diverging the rest of the way. However, it doesn't look like either side was able to do a significant amount of damage to each other. Just that, after this wave, after cryptids, whatever they did, they must have taken out 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 provinces there, really disabled them. That may have taken out a good amount of power on no free ice cream, but it's hard to say without actually pulling all the data. And again, this war was 157 hours long, so um, actually, no, it's a little bit. It's less than that, but it is a pretty long war, either way. Um, so it's again, you see some nice movement here on the honor side of things. Gives you a little bit more of a telling story. Again, cryptids came in the smaller kingdom, not that much smaller though. Less than 5K difference, and they had some nice convergences here on the honor side of things. And eventually, taking the win, they managed to walk away with a ton of honor. Great job there, cryptids. You had a nice war. Well, very well fought, both sides. All right, let's move on to the next one. Who we got here? Bouncing Along versus Urban Dream Recruiting. Let's see what we got here. All right, Urban Dream Recruiting takes the win. Again, this is one of the, not a very long war. Looks like this war, and actually the last one were probably only 2 or 3 days. So they went by pretty quickly. These guys are in their ceasefires right now. So just quickly looking at what was going on here, we're going to flip over to the net worth side of things. I mean, it's a pretty telling story. I mean, Urban Dream outpumped the enemy and, continued to take them all the way to the end. I mean, this is basically where they took the victory here, and this is all ceasefire here. So you can tell this how long this war's actually been done for. June, July, May, April, So basically, they're almost done their ceasefire now. So it looks like they're actually starting to pump or something on here on the end, possibly even exiting their ceasefire at this time or getting ready to. So that would be both sides. Looking at the honor side of things, yeah, I mean, Urban Dream took the win. Great job, guys. Not too much else to look at there. I mean, one less province. Um, Great job, guys. Great job. All right, let's move on to the next war. Unnamed Kingdom versus Bad Xmas Prezzies. 147 hours. And let's take a look at the land side of things. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty tight war. Definitely looks like Bad Xmas Prezzies may have, looked like they were biting off more than they could chew at first. And then, closer to the middle or end, closer to the end of the war, they really, really socked it to them. Let's take a look at the net worth side of things. Wow, that is pretty close. And you see what I mean here before about one kingdom kind of outpumping the other. Usually the small one outpumps the bigger one. It usually looks exactly like this, what you see here. You got they're leaving the pump, they're leaving their ceasefire or getting ready for war, whatever it is they're doing there. And then, first waves here, second wave, third wave. There were a lot of waves in this war, clearly, because you see the end is actually just down here. So this war actually ended, when did this war end? About 9 or 10 ticks ago. So this actually looks like a pretty tight war, although you see these nice convergent patterns here coming from the Red Kingdom here. Like pretty much on the second, third, I mean, that's a near convergence, near convergence, near. But I mean, we've got some really nice convergences here considering, their position in the war. Definitely looked like, Blue Kingdom was probably in a better position. Maybe they were slightly inflated because of the extra land that they were carrying. But even still, I mean, this definitely looks like it was a tough war because the numbers really aren't that too disparative. I mean, the honor side of the thing is really telling, which just leads me to believe that, probably, oh, there you go, dark elves, halflings, probably just have more TMs on one side than the other. Elf. Yeah, I mean, if these are all actually TMs, maybe, the few extra TMs made the difference. I'm not sure if they had any rogues on this side unless they're like an elf rogue or dwarf rogue or something like that maybe. But as you can see, they actually, the Red Kingdom actually has 4 halflings. So they're running a little bit more of a mixed bag of things, it looks like, compared to, Blue Kingdom here, which is a little bit more centered around, one generic race or two generic races, really, in this case, on dwarf and elf. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if all these dwarves are undead. I mean, that was a kind of a pick a lot of people were talking about here, and to see that many in a kingdom, that's kind of like the logical choice for me. Maybe, okay, honestly, I can't really think of anything else that you'd pair it with like that. Either, dwarf undead or undead dwarf, maybe. Someone take a shot and find out for me. I'm sure you can figure that out. I'm a little busy right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, I'm really busy right now. I can't do it right now for sure. All right, so let's take a look here. I mean, this is a great example of, one kingdom really turning it around, because it looks like it did take them some time. Like this was definitely a 2 or 3 day turnaround at minimum. Min time, it probably seemed like it was a much tighter war, but as the days rolled on, I mean, this war seems like it was just moving in Red Kingdom's favor here. Um, and again, you look at the honor chart. The honor chart's really telling us to what's going on in the kingdom. I mean, we've got even numbers here. Again, probably more TMs on the one side than the other, and that's probably responsible for that initial spike as they're dumping all their mana and stealth. However, that prolonged effect over, I think this war lasted 6 or 7 days. I really got to figure it out right now because the way that this thing is working, as you can see, it's definitely not July 10th year 123. So I got to figure out where we're at. Well, I mean, I kind of know we're at February now, so this thing says July. Let's just forget that the year 123. We know we're on year 2, and it's February 10th. So figure that one out. maybe one day we'll get this thing fixed so that it's a little bit easier to tell and read. But for the time being, we're just going to work with what we got. All right. I mean, definitely Red Kingdom walked away with a lot of honor here. Um, kind of like if we go back and look at the net worth side of things here, there's definitely kind of an emergency moment, or there should have been an emergency moment for the Blue Kingdom where it's like, if they were looking at these charts or if they were looking at the net worth and honor differences, throughout the entire war, as you could see by the honor chart, it looked like Red Kingdom was pretty much in control of the honor gains for the entire portion, like the entire war, basically. And then, this kind of turnaround here, this is kind of the danger zone. And as you can see, they converged and they were able to pull it back here on this wave. However, every successive wave, it just got worse and harder and harder and harder for them to pull the Red Kingdom down. And, the Red Kingdom looks like they were doing some kind of pumping thing here, or trying to do some kind of pump at the end maybe. It's hard to say what they were up to, again, without pulling all the information and all the data. But it looks like it was a tough battle, definitely tough win probably, because again, look at the net worth going into this war, and look at what they were dealing with. I mean, if these are actually dwarf undeads, they got a lot of offense there and a lot of at-home defense. And these elves are just monsters. Like, I'm sure they fared extremely well. However, in past experience, combination of Dark Elf and Elf, especially where Dark Elf gets some kind of, mana back or runes back or something like that, or, increased instant damage, that's just such a great tool to have at your disposal. I'm really a big fan of Dark Elves. I think they should be used more, but they're kind of situational. But at the same time, it's a great all-around character as well. Dark Elf is pretty awesome. So, shout out to everyone in Red Kingdom and Blue Kingdom, of course. Looks like this was a very tough war. If anyone wants to reach out and share more insight or information as to what was going on here, like how many dragons there were, what kind of rituals were used. But based on, how tight this war is and how strong of a pump this is, and I've talked about this before. This is the cash build up here, and then we've got the dump, and we've got the dump and cash build up and dump on both sides here. So this is where the training comes in. And it actually looks like Blue Kingdom was a little bit more organized in their pump. They pumped a little bit more, and they were a tiny little bit more organized. It looks like, Red Kingdom took a couple extra ticks to get ready here, as you can see by this little bloop, little hiccup here, versus the smooth line you're seeing from the Blue Kingdom. So it definitely looks like the Blue Kingdom was a little bit more on point with their pump and ready to go. But clearly that wasn't enough to defeat the Red Kingdom. You can see here that stealth and mana being dumped here at the very beginning on Blue Kingdom here is quite a significant impact. And again, in their successive waves after that, just keeping them down or bringing them down. I mean, this is basically looks like they're taking out one province at a time almost. And then again, on both sides, it looks like the same thing's happening. One province, one province, one province, one province, and so on. So I mean, other than that, it definitely wasn't a total stomp out. On the honor side of things, it was definitely a rough play. But on this side of things, it doesn't look like, one side was really in a bad spot. However, I will say on the Blue Kingdom side, if these dwarfs and undead and this undead are not TMs, these were very likely very hollow attackers. Because I mean, look at the net worth that they're sitting on, and on the acres that they're sitting on. I mean, if Blue Kingdom had taken this any further, you would have seen probably no provinces here, above this elf. These dwarves and this undead probably would have been gone. Because with that net worth, I just don't see how they could maintain an army strong enough to like fight off, a big human like this fly swatter guy or fart scented candle or this ugly ties guy or what else they got here? Orcs. Yeah, so the orcs looks like they took the brunt of the beating here, whereas it looks like again, the Red Kingdom was targeting dwarfs on this side. So a very tight war. I mean, I'm going to try and look at these ones a little bit more closely going forward, just to kind of understand them better and kind of figure out, or at least help everyone kind of figure out, what's going on in these kingdoms and how their setups and strategies are working for them, without, actually taking too much invasive intel. I mean, you can tell a lot by the makeup of a kingdom and the way they conduct their wars and so on. So great job to everyone in that kingdom. Shout out to you guys, whoever you are. All right, let's move on to the next war. We've got Unnamed Kingdom versus Korsov City. Before we continue, we're just going to take a quick look and see if anyone's typed anywhere or if there's any data or anything currently going on that I'm missing out on. Looks like we got a couple of people who joined. Welcome, Redbird, Dabart, and Metaphysical. Am I saying that right? Maybe. Let's see what he's got. Use YouTube link. Oh, there's the YouTube link. There you go, Metaphysical. You can get it on there. I did post it in the Utopia talk, as well as you can check it out on the newsroom actually. So if it's just below the Genesis tab on the Utopia game Discord channel list, you can check it out there. Let's take a quick look and see what's going on in Discord right now. Nothing serious. Just HD up to his usual business at night. What up, HD? All right, let's see. Korsov City versus Unnamed Kingdom. What do we got here? Well, we got a stomp out. It looks like Korsov City really destroyed Unnamed Kingdom. More or less even sides. It seems like these kingdoms with one less province are doing extremely well, or at least the targets they're picking are like really good targets, because it doesn't seem like you know it looks like these guys, this blue kingdom, um, are spices or something. Then you get this like chicken guy. So I'm not sure. I guess they're spices. I guess you could have like chicken salt or chicken flavored salt or something like that. Um, yeah, why not? Pretty cool names. I don't know why they just didn't tag as the Spice Kingdom though, or like Spice Girls or something like that. That would have been more funny and more creative than Unnamed Kingdom. Come on, guys, put some effort into it. You could have such a sweet banner on that. And I hope to see some more from you guys in the future. Korsov City, I don't know what to tell you guys. You kicked butt here. Let's take a look at the honor side. Yeah, you really did kick butt here again. You see this strong convergences here, and they walk away with a ton of honor. Great job, Korsov City. Great job. Let's just take a quick look at their mix-up here. Maybe they'll give us some indication as to why they finished this war so fast. And look at that, avians. Avians and elves. All right. So, I mean, that's a pretty, that's probably the reason. I wouldn't be surprised if these are avian orcs. The elves are probably a similar makeup to that last kingdom we were looking at. You got a combination of mystics and maybe a couple of, mystics. Those don't exist anymore. Make sure you vote on the thing, by the way. Vote on this survey if you want something to change. Otherwise we're probably going to be stuck with this race thing. If you want race personality back, fill out this survey. Fill it out. All right. Enough peer pressure. Let's get back to the wars. All right. Awesome. So yeah, we got Korsov City kicking butt, and it looks like they got a speed army here with some strong TM support. Very, very strong setup, I think. However, it's interesting because that last kingdom we were looking at, like Christmas Prezzies or whatever their funny name was, um, they had a similar setup to the Blue Kingdom here, like more similar. You had a more standardized setup, except these were dark elves. So dark elves, four halflings. These guys have more halflings. Look like these guys have a pretty decent amount of TM power, although maybe they went a little bit too heavy on the rogues, and maybe they need a little bit more magical support. Again, it's hard to say exactly what they have, but all these provinces don't have very high net worth either, so they're not in exactly the greatest position. But overall, in the kingdom, they are more or less in the top positions there. But on this side, it's pretty obvious. All these elves are in a very nice, safe position, probably funding dragons, paying for troops. Meanwhile, these avians are marching. They probably have like 20% more uniques and marches over Blue Kingdom, and that alone is what allowed them to do such amazing damage and make basically no contest. As you can see here, the damage that they took as well was very minimal, probably mostly just their troops dying, maybe a dragon slayer too. It's hard to say, but I hope to see some more from you in the future, Korsov City. I hope you take a little bit more of a harder war next time so we can see how you do under pressure. All right, great job, everyone. Let's move on to the next one. We got that Diablo Kingdom showing up here again. So I'm curious to see who that is, because they're a smaller kingdom, not a full kingdom, but I think they did win their first war, and this is their second war. Let's see what's going on in their second war here. Did they walk away with the win? It looks like it just ended, and it looks like the Diablo Kingdom did take the win. Great job, Diablo Kingdom. I mean, you guys are short two provinces basically, or this Matron's Den province is in protection still, but you're two provinces short, and you kicked butt here. I mean, let's take a look at the land side of things. Definitely more provinces in a worse condition um, on the Blue Kingdom side. And it looks like this war just finished as well. So let's take a look at the net worth. The land was really back and forth. Uh, okay, there we go. Wow, this is another tight war. You see this great example of, one kingdom. Um, Interesting how the dynamics change sometimes, though. This is a very tight war again, probably because of the fact that they were lacking two extra provinces, so that can really make a difference. But then it all comes down to strategy, and it looks like they had a pretty solid strategy. They overpumped the enemy a little bit. They had a nice pump here. Again, look at these straight lines compared to. Looks like they kind of faltered a little bit here after the cash buildup and then the dump. Um, but they had a pretty good showing here versus the Blue Kingdom, who was kind of like staircase into their pump. Um, and a very uniform down as well. So like Diablo was doing pretty consistent damage. Now they weren't able to flip it over like the last kingdom was, and kind of really like show their dominance. But again, I feel like that's just because they were missing those two extra provinces. If they had had those two extra provinces, these lines would be, they probably would have had a convergence here, and maybe these lines would be on top. The red lines would be going on top, converging down as Blue Kingdom brought them down. However, Diablo probably would have finished the war in a little bit of a better position there on the net worth side of things. But a very tight war on the honor side of things. I mean, this is definitely not an easy war for both sides. It's good to see these amazing wars in progress. As you can see, it's very tight on both sides, net worth wise, acre wise, but of course, Diablo walks away with the win, doing more honor damage. Quickly look at their breakdown. Looks like lots of people are liking avians. The winning kingdoms are liking avians apparently. You got your dark elf there, some halflings, fairies. So this is a nice balanced kingdom. Your support casters probably could be these dryads. Um, these can be dryad fairies. It's might not be. They can be something else. Based on their numbers, they're all, these kingdoms are all really small right now. So, um, they could still be attackers, all of them, except for maybe this elf here. You don't really, turn into a real unbreakable quote unquote TM until you get past 1,000 acres. When you're kind of hovering around the 800, 900 acres, you're kind of still vulnerable, especially to those bigger attackers. But once you manage to control that offense and you get out of range, and they have to sacrifice their whole army for a big hit on you, and a big hit, at that size is probably like 100 or 120 acres or something like that. Maybe a little bit more if you have gains like an orc gains or something like that. Um, but that's not going to be enough to save you from a chain where 90% of your acres are taken away from you. So great job, Diablo Kingdom. Looks like you had a nice tough fought war there. Two provinces down. So I hope to see more from you guys in the future. Maybe go up against that Korsov City Kingdom and see how you guys both fare against each other there. That would be interesting. All right, what do we got here? We got the 80s Matinee versus the Merry Marauders. So Merry Marauders, they've been pretty forthcoming about their identity since the age started. Let's take a look at this war's going for them. Wow, it looks like they did win, so congratulations, Merry Marauders. Let's take a look at the rest here. Network side of things. This war looks like they're just about to go into or leave their ceasefire rather. Looks like both kingdoms are just doing their drops right now, and they're going to be pumping. So these guys are very likely leaving ceasefire shortly, and probably going to war with somebody. So everyone keep your eyes open. You might get waved soon. All right, again, very strong performance here by Merry Marauders. They achieved this convergence and then, just pushed past, showing their dominance and just taking control of the war. So great job, Marauders. Let's take a look at the honor side of things. I mean, they're definitely in control. There was one moment here where Red Kingdom looked like they had a chance to pull this honor back, but that was quickly taken away from them. And why, do you ask? Well, look at all these orcs. That's probably why. And interesting setup. You got mostly dark elves, some dryads, one elf, one fairy. That's interesting. Be interesting to see what these guys are actually made of, Merry Marauders here. Versus a little bit more of a mixed bag here. So definitely a little bit easier to coordinate um, on Merry Marauder's side. And that helps a lot. You can see a much stronger performance with less effort on everyone's part. So great job, Merry Marauders. Love the banner, by the way. Thanks for submitting it. Let's take a look at the next war. Peaches and Cream, no war versus Ghetto Paradise. Well, you know what, Peaches and Cream, you're at war, and you're 3 provinces down. And it looks like, Ghetto Paradise is doing a lot more damage to you, especially on the honor side of things. Let's take a quick look here. Land side of things, not too much to report there. I mean, Ghetto Paradise won and took it. Um, Looked like no contest really. Again, yeah, no contest. There's no convergence here. Ghetto Paradise is just in a really strong position, and they showed their dominance. They walked away with this victory. Honor side of things, yeah, I mean that was all them. Great job, guys. You really dominated that war, Ghetto Paradise. Let's move on to the next war. What they think we are doing versus the core. Everybody knows the core. Love having you guys banner on the news. It always looks cool. You have some pretty good banners over the years. Let's take a look at the land side of thing. Nothing really to look at there. Network side of things, this looks like no contest for the core. I mean, they're definitely dominating in this war. Honor will be the final indicator. Wow, it looks like it really came down to Utopia, so I'm just going to use this moment. Take a look here. Mark Graham, what's up? What's up, guys? Thanks for joining the chat. Sweet. All right, let's take a look back at this war here, what they think we're doing versus the core. Yeah, again, you get a more of a mixed bag here on what they think we're doing. So it's definitely probably easier to coordinate what's going on this side that only has like mostly elves and orcs. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. Whereas again, you're putting leadership to the test here when you've got like 4 avians, 3 dark elves, 2 elves, 4 halflings, 4 humans, and a handful of token orcs. I mean, everyone I guess wanted to have a little bit of gains. Orc is one of my favorite races, so I'm always partial to picking it despite whatever the negatives or detractors are. Again, it's probably, I would say it's my favorite race in Utopia. Next to like Dark Elves or something are pretty sweet. I mean, I have trouble not picking them all the time. That are like halflings, especially when they get that TPA boost or some kind of stealth regen. And hey, let's just go wild here. And of course, some type of thieves den bonus as well to give you some building power back. So definitely, this is definitely a war to watch. Definitely doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon, because even though the core looks like they're in very strong control of this honor chart is very, very misleading. Um, Really makes you think that red is really doing a good job trying to pull that honor back. Um, and it looks like they're not going to give up easy to the core, although the core net worth wise looks like they're in a strong position. But again, they are 1 extra province up. But on average, it's only about, let's say 90,000 or 70 or 90,000 for that province in terms of net worth. And, we got a difference here, 1.7, almost 200,000 net worth. So, that's definitely half of it, but this is definitely a tight war. I mean, again, the chart on the net worth side of things makes it look like there's a bigger gap than there actually is. But again, this is only 250K, you know, per line gap here. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at some of these charts, because some of the bigger kingdoms, the way the chart is set up makes it, skews it slightly differently. So great job to the core. I mean, it looks like you guys got this one in control. I mean, definitely a good chance to win, but at the same time, Red Kingdom looks like you got a pretty darn good chance to win as well. So let's see how this one folds out for you guys. I think either way, both sides will be happy with how they performed that war. All right, let's see what we got here. Another one. So we got 1 province short again. Let's take a quick look at the land side of things. Denizens of the Deep. It's a butt feeling. Looks like Denizens was in control of this war on the land side of things from the beginning. And on the net worth side of things as well, in control. There you go. Denizens looks like there was one chance maybe there where Red was coming close to achieving some sort of convergence. But I think after they saw that and they couldn't do it after two waves, they realized that, this war was lost. So great job to Denizens of the Deep. I mean, with a name like that, I hope you guys have a sweet banner. So post that banner, send it to me. I'll post it on the news. All right, let's check it out. Woolly Mammoths versus Wishmasters. No clue who the Woolly Mammoths are. Maybe there's someone new, but we all know who Wishmasters is, and it looks like Wishmasters up to their usual bag of tricks there, winning wars again all of a sudden. I think Wishmasters, used to be really good at warring in the past, and then I think they went through some kind of break, or the whole team wasn't really super focused on winning wars for many ages. But recently, it seems like they've been coming back strong, and this is a total stomp out. The Woolly Mammoths looks like they didn't stand a chance here. I mean, total stomp out. Um, yeah, totally lost on the honor. Even though they're smaller, they still lost a significant amount of honor. Again, we're seeing a pretty strong angle of descent here. This is almost a 45-degree angle on their downfall here, whereas Wishmaster's just growing. Dudes, how'd you get such an easy war? Willie Mammoth, I hope you learned something from that war. Definitely don't want to be known as that kingdom that just farms out to everybody. And I mean, you guys have a pretty sweet name, so I hope you guys again, send me a banner. I hope it's a mammoth banner with something cool going on. So send me those banners. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Cheers War versus Bob the Builder. We got, again, one province show. Seems to be very common this age. A lot of kingdoms going to war, one province short. I'm not sure what the motivation is behind that. Maybe it's just proving that, they do have the ability, they do have the power to win those wars despite being down. One province is certainly one thing, that I can think of. So, for sure, um, this is something to keep an eye on, especially those kingdoms that are winning. It could mean different things. So, I mean, it could mean maybe the kingdom that they're facing is a little bit more casual or just doesn't have the same leadership or war leader structure, as their enemy with one less province. But again, there's a lot of factors that could play in that when it comes to these wars. And a lot of it could be based on, just on your kingdom mates. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. Looks like Bob the Builder took the win, probably about a month or two ago. Great job, Bob the Builder. Definitely looks like you didn't have too much trouble taking that land away, that's for sure. Again, this is another stomp out, or what it looks like a stomp out. I mean, the Red Kingdom's on a 45-degree slant here. They really had no chance. Meanwhile, Blue Kingdom's growing like crazy. Makes me think Red Kingdom is sitting on dragons. Or just, maybe doing gains attacks. Again, let's look at the breakdown here. Wow, all avians and elves. Okay, that could be part of it. I mean, they definitely have the speed advantage there. Not as much of a mixed bag of tricks as Cheers is. So I hope you guys are taking this back. I mean, these simple setups are very effective, especially for new leaders or people who have just started a new kingdom or something like that. Don't overcomplicate it. Build yourself up to it. Get your sheets set up, or get people to do that for you who can help you out with picking and stuff like that. But definitely, these easier setups may have certain benefits and detractors in the short and long and midterm. But at the end of the day, you don't want to burn yourself out, especially if you're just going in all directions and you have no chance of winning wars. I mean, it's definitely worth your while to, I don't want to say limit your choices, but, kind of refine your choices and focus on the strategy that works for you and your kingdom. So great job to Bob the Builder. You really kicked butt there. Same thing on the honor side. You took it. Great job, guys. All right, let's move on to the next war. We got Unnamed Kingdom versus Space, the Final Frontier. This looks like it's a micro war. Half-size kingdom sizes. It looks like Space, the Final Frontier, just took the victory as well. Just a few ticks ago, it seems like. And on the network side of things, not as bad as, seemingly as bad as the stomp out as on the other side. But if you look closely again, the honor, has gone by 5K. So pretty strong performance from Space, the Final Frontier. And again, one province extra versus one province short. This side does have more avians, but clearly it didn't stand up to the orcs and humans that are on Space, the Final Frontier side here. No one, I mean, this could be anybody. There's a lot of micro kingdoms now that are going to war. So I think they're, kind of bringing a new facet to the game. The admins and stuff have made it clear that we're not really ever going to reduce the kingdom sizes. But obviously, as you can see, there's still plenty of, 14 or less or player wars, or 10-player wars, both sides going on all the time. So, those kingdoms, it's not like they don't exist. So definitely, something to consider for all those players that are looking for smaller kingdoms. It is possible, and they're going to war. So great job, everyone. You're giving hope to those who think that it's not possible to run small kingdoms and do wars and things like that. All right, next we got Checkmate versus Unnamed Kingdom. Everybody knows who Checkmate is. They may as well be like essentially equivalent to Wishmasters because they've been around so long. They're kicking butt at wars. They really know what's going down. Their member base is pretty strong and been around for a long time. There's not a whole lot of new players, I don't think, in either of those kingdoms. But it looks like Checkmate didn't have the greatest performance here, and they were actually 2 provinces short as well. So Checkmate maybe got a little bit too cocky there. I'm not sure what happened, but definitely looks like a very strong performance by the Blue Kingdoms. Whoever the Blue Kingdom is, excellent work on your side there. You really taught Checkmate a thing or two. Um, definitely strong performance on the honor side as well. It didn't even give Checkmate a chance, not even a convergence here. So great job to both sides, especially Blue Kingdom. Hope you tag up soon. Um, can we figure out what they got here? I'm a bird, I pity the fool, 5 and 5, broken halo, Athena, Sammy the seagull, smoke a joint. Yeah, bunch of names. Seems like songs or bands or sayings or something from people. I pity the fool. Yeah, Mr. T. All right, let's move on to the next war. Curious Oysters versus At War Recruiting. So you're at war and recruiting. I wonder if they're trying to recruit any Curious Oysters. But it looks like Curious Oysters is only like half a kingdom in comparison to At War Recruiting 1. So let's see what kind of war we're dealing with here. Definitely looks like At War is taking more acres. Anyway, I mean, how did they even get into this war? Curious Oysters, you're in for a rough ride. So definitely buckle up because it looks like At War is going to take full advantage of this position here. So I think we all know where this one's going to go. And At War, Red Kingdom, if you somehow manage to lose this, I will be shocked. Greatly shocked. All right, let's move on to the next one. War on GMO versus Nostalgia. Quick look at what we got here. Even provinces on both sides. That's good. Land side of things looks like it's nice and choppy. That's kind of what we want to see. Net worth side of things, not super exciting. Nostalgia definitely in a bad position. Looks like, Blue Kingdom pumped to meet them as well while they were kind of standing around. Um, not a good spot for them. Not a good spot for Nostalgia at all. So let's see, what kind of damage or what kind of land we're dealing with here on both sides. Um, again, Nostalgia looks like, they have more acres, but their net worth per acres are definitely a little bit different. Probably slightly worse. Definitely worse than War on GMO. Even at the top end, we've got a bunch of these humans, this human and this undead, still holding their net worth. These dark elves still holding their net worth per acre and their net worth pretty strong, considering their size. Definitely looks like they're getting targeted first. That could be part of the reason why Nostalgia is not making as much of a big impact because it looks like it may be targeting higher defensive provinces, which means that less armies can march and just gives you less options. So definitely looks like this is a war that War on GMO should be able to win. Although Nostalgia could very well pull this back, and it'll be interesting to see if they are actually able to do that, because the honor chart shows a very interesting story of Nostalgia being in charge, and it doesn't seem like Blue Kingdom's able to take that away from them very easily. All right, let's move on to the next war. All right, here's the one we were talking about before. And this is one I have a little bit of data for. So this is the movie quotes War Greed 712, not 7-2, and Shadow Rising is 7-2 because they ended up going to war with them instead of 712. Let's take a look right here. Sorry guys, I'm getting a little bit tired. I don't sleep very much. I'm up all the time, work so many jobs, blah, blah, blah. All right, back to the exciting stuff, the wars. Shadow Rising. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, not much to see here. We all saw before how Shadow Rising was a much larger kingdom going into this, but Red Kingdom definitely rose to meet them at the challenge. And what do we see here? We got a convergence here on the most recent wave. Now, is Shadow Rising able to pull this one back? What are they going to do? This should be interesting to see what happens. But Shadow Rising is taking a ton of damage. I mean, we're getting on to 800,000 almost versus the 200,000 that movie quotes is taken in terms of damage. This war is only one day in, but this is pretty telling. If they maintain this course, um, movie quotes has a very good chance to win, I think. Definitely looks like, you know, Shadow Rising maybe dropped the ball a little bit, or maybe they weren't prepared, or maybe they lost a couple provinces already that were vital to their war plan. This is an interesting dip up here that raises up by almost 200,000 net worth. Wondering what happened there. I guess they just had a little bit of a pump, but it's kind of strange that I guess it's the way it's displaying it. It's just so close together. But again, it looks like Red Kingdom's really kicking butt here. And let's take a look, because actually, as I said, I do have some data for this one. So I'm just going to move these guys over here. There we go. So what do we got for 7.9 and 7.2? It looks like 7.2 or 7.9 is doing a little bit more damage. 7.2 has so 7.9 has taken more land, but 7.2 has done more damage. As you can see, there's a lot more reds on this side. However, it's spread out. So that's the difference here. You got 2, 3, 4, 5 kingdoms, all above 600 acres down. Pretty solid hits, a good serving of hits there. Whereas, these guys are kind of just a little bit fatter at the top here. So it looks like 7.2 is getting set up for a strong fall. That's what I'm kind of seeing here based on the data. I'm not sure how they see that, but it's definitely something to watch out for in this war. There you are. There you're having a nice fancy graph again, courtesy of Cage and Spooky Cookie. Thanks so much, guys, for setting up this Kingdom News Reporter and information parser. It's definitely worth checking out. Be sure to check out the previous videos for the link. You know what? I'll probably add the link in after when the video is done, just so everyone can check it out. So again, it's a wonderful tool by Cage, and Spooky Cookie's always helping out and supporting in the ways that he can. So thank you to both of you two for making Utopia great again. Without you guys like you, we couldn't get this stuff done. So great job there, guys. I mean, definitely looks like there's some greater story behind there with 7.2 and 7.9, 7.12. It looks like I recall the other day HD was talking about it in the Muga chat, and he was trying to figure out what was going on. I think he was kind of on the right track, but he's missing all the details, and my source there that had sent me some of the information, including the charts, kind of alluded to that. So there was definitely another war that was supposed to take place, but someone was a big bully and butted in, and I bet you can guess who that was. Probably the biggest kingdom, that one we were looking at before. Here, I'll give you one more little hint here. Yeah, this guy here, because their enemy, there's 7.9, right? Eh, 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 eh. Right? I mean, that's a pretty significant difference. Although give it to 7.9, they're doing a great job pulling them down. I mean, look where they are now. I mean, look how close they are. They're almost touching that 25K line. I mean, one more wave from the Orange Kingdom, and it looks like they'll see a convergence here, even on this chart. So great job, everyone there. Let's move on to the next one. Insomnia War versus Santa Claus is coming to town. All right, let's see if Santa Claus is actually coming to town or not. So far, it's hard to say. It looks like it's too early for Santa Claus to come to town. Santa Claus did come to town, but it looks like he's getting stuck down the chimney. That's enough bad Santa jokes. But yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like the Blue Kingdom's not in the greatest shape here going into this war. They did have a decent enough pump, but this looks like one of those wars where they're going to get swallowed up by the smaller kingdom. Although, will Insomnia have what it takes to converge and take that honor and switch positions with the Blue Kingdom? Only time will tell. So best of luck to both sides. Let's move on to the next war. We got hostile PSO versus 1-5. This war is only 9 hours in. Land side of things, we're not seeing a whole lot going back and forth. Definitely Blue Kingdom in control of the land. which just kind of tells me that they're a little bit fatty or maybe they have an extra province. And look at that, there is one kingdom that's missing again, 3 provinces. Again, seems to be a very common sight this age, 1 to 3 provinces missing from the kingdoms, and they're going to wars, no problems. So even if they're down so much, they're really not down that much in acres, net worth, and honor. Although honor is the biggest difference for them at this time. So I mean, they got this work cut out for them. Um, It'll be interesting to see who actually wins this. If hostile, Red Kingdom can actually pull that off, that would be crazy, especially with 3 missing provinces. All right, let's move on to the next one. Drunken Mistakes versus the Forest. Looks like we got one less province on the Forest side of things. And then based on these numbers here, it looks like the Forest is taking a bit of a beating. Although on the honor side of things, it looks pretty balanced. So great job on both sides for maintaining that honor. Although, wow, this is pretty disturbing for the Forest. Looks like they took a very deep chain there just recently on this wave. And yeah, you can see that here. I mean, the Forest outgrew them, but quickly. Looks like, this is probably the second wave or first wave in war. The last wave was probably a hostile wave. This one here looks like they're having their wave in war now, or a couple armies marched and then they waited for war to be declared, and then they marched the rest of their armies, which is very likely what may have happened here as well. Are these guys avians? I mean, could they return in 9 hours, 10 hours, or whatever that said? Maybe with enough barracks, I suppose. If these were orc avians and these were avian orcs or something like that, they could probably manage a 9 hour, 10 hour attack with extra racks, probably even less. So yeah, it's very likely that this was just a few armies to start them off, and this was just the first wave in war, first full wave, and they've already achieved convergence. So Forest, you got to be careful with this one. Looks like you're up against a tough opponent, and when you see plays like this, it definitely tells you you got to be careful. Like, look how much honor you've already kind of lost here going into this war, and I can bet you if Drunken Mistakes continues on this path, you're going to lose a lot more than just honor. So definitely something to keep in mind. And don't underestimate Drunken Mistakes. It seems like they really got their stuff together when it comes to Utopia. All right, let's check out the next one. Unnamed Kingdom versus Why Pick Your Combo. Leave us be. Wow, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 provinces short. That is pretty intense. Let's check out the next one. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're kind of expecting to see with so many provinces short. Still doing a pretty good job net worth-wise, maintaining their position. Honor-wise, I expect them to be like way off the chart. There you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of expecting to see. Maybe slightly more close together, but again, we don't have too much data for these wars that are only like 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours. So let's move on to the last war, the most recent war that started, Toontown versus the BOL Rebels. Um, Not a whole lot going on here. It looks like they're both just doing their first waves. Um, yeah, I mean, it looks like BOL Rebels are a bigger kingdom on net worth as well. Looks like they're still in control even after whatever that hostile wave was, their first war wave. Although on the net worth side of things, it looks like this could very well be their war to win. Now, I know we're only 5 hours in, but I mean, we're seeing some pretty strong data from the land, net worth, and honor side of things that definitely support BOL as, potentially the victors here in this war as time goes on. We will find out. Again, keep in mind, there's even numbers here, so anything could go down. The other kingdom may just be sleeping or having a bad start to the war or weren't expecting the hostile. But best of luck to everyone in that war, and hopefully, we see some more wars that are nice and close and well fought in the future. Definitely be sure to check out the Utopia News website here and join us in the Muga cast live on the Muga Discord. If anyone wants to say anything, now would be the time to add your piece. Thank you so much, Metaphysical. Thank you for joining. And anyone who's actually listening in the live chat could actually, at this point put up their hand, and I could give you permission to speak if you'd like to do that. We can definitely do that. Looks like I did actually lose my speaking position there. So there we go, back in the speaking position here. I'm not sure how long that was off or what happened there, but I think I definitely, got kicked out of the Muga cast thing definitely need to keep an eye on that. There's probably some sort of hotkey or something like that that kicked me out of there, but it was still being all recorded and stuff like that, so nothing to worry. We didn't lose any data. Again, be sure to check out this Utopia survey. This could very well impact and shape the game, the world of Legends as we know it. So be sure to check it out and answer this super simple question: race or race personality? What do you prefer? And again, we're hoping to wrap this at the end of the year or just around Christmas. So that the magic can happen over Christmas, and who knows what the world of Legends will look like in the following age. Looks like we've already got some responses here, so thank you